Hey y'all, it's me, Dree. Now let's get into this message because right away we're dealing with shame, miracle, and contentment. So this is feeling to me like a progression because I don't think these three energies are existing all at the same time. I think they are more likely to be happening in order, starting with shame, moving to miracle, and then ultimately landing in contentment. Now, what's interesting about shame is I don't actually think this shame belongs to the collective. I think the collective is carrying it. And those are really two very different things. Because if this shame truly belonged to the collective, well then there would be no reason to question it. There would be no reason to investigate it. There would be no reason to spend so much time trying to understand where it came from. But that's exactly what I see is happening. The collective is looking at this shame and they are saying, something underneath this isn't adding up. Something underneath this doesn't feel right. I need to understand why exactly I'm carrying this to begin with, right? We'll get into these emotions with the tarot. I want to stick with this shame for right now. So let's get into the message. It starts with autumnal equinox, justice, 5 of Wands reverse, and the Queen of Wands. So this card immediately grabs my attention because the autumnal equinox says, prepare for change, make long-term plans, express gratitude, and it also says harvest. So first thing this tells me, this shame that's been active for a long time, long enough that it became a part of y'all's landscape, part of y'all's environment, and part of y'all's story. This isn't something that showed up yesterday. This is something the collective has been living with for a long time now. This card, it also says express gratitude, and I'm thinking that this is when the first crack in the collective's shame becomes visible. Because eventually the collective stops staring directly at the wound. And they start noticing what still exists around the wound. They start realizing what survived. and what remained, and what continued growing despite the shame. Because I'm getting the collective, y'all have harvested other parts of life. And y'all are now recognizing blessings outside of whatever has been producing this shame to begin with. And because of that in itself, y'all finally lift your eyes up high enough to see what's sitting underneath it. And that's when justice hits. Now this justice card is the heart of this entire message, because justice says fairness, balance, cause and effect. It says integrity, and it says truth. And what I really love about this justice energy is that the collective isn't pursuing justice because they want revenge. No. They're pursuing justice because they want understanding. They want to know what happened. How did I even get here? What caused all this? What effect did this have? And what is the lesson? What is the truth? What is my responsibility in this? And also, what isn't my responsibility in this? Because regardless of how things landed, I'm getting the collective wants to be standing correctly. The collective wants to be doing the right thing. The collective wants to be in true integrity. So the collective, they start following the truth wherever it leads. And the more truth they find, the less ownership they have of the shame. Because the shame, that was never the truth. The truth is underneath the shame. And then it takes us to the Five of Wands reverse. So this is harmony restored, situations resolved. This is harmony, cooperation, solutions. And I don't think this is harmony between two people. No. I think this is showing up as harmony being restored within the collective, because the collective finally understands enough about this whole situation that the internal battle ends altogether. The truth restores harmony. And the situation, it resolves within them. And because of that, I'm getting that the collective, y'all stop shrinking. Y'all stop questioning yourselves. Y'all stop defining yourselves through the shame. Because y'all are emerging into Queen of Wands. And I'm going to say this is a big deal. Because Queen of Wands isn't somebody who feels a little better. Queen of Wands is somebody who knows exactly who they are. This is confidence. This is authority. This is visibility. This is somebody who can walk into a room and command attention simply because they are comfortable in their own skin, not because the room agrees with them, not because the room likes them, and not because the room approves of them, but because they know who they are. And the whole reason the collective gets this power back, well, this Justice and Five of Wands reverse gave it back. I'm getting that the collective carried, they followed the shame all the way down to truth. And then once they found the truth, the shame lost its power. And this is the part that I think that things are really about to get interesting, because the center of this spread is around miracle. And this entire first column, that seems to be what created the miracle. I'm not getting that the miracle is the outcome. The miracle is that the collective found the truth. The miracle here is that the collective reclaimed themselves. The miracle is that the collective took their power back. And then we move into this center column of the spread, and we've got the World reversed, the Two of Wands reversed, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Tower. So with the World reversed, this is seeking closure, delays, lack of completion, stagnation. And honestly, when I look at this, it makes me think of the collective again, because of course the collective wants closure. Once you all know the truth, you want to put this story in the ground. You want completion. You want the cycle closed, and you want the loose ends tied up, right? I'm thinking so, because then we hit this Two of Wands reverse, and I don't think the collective is discovering the truth here. I think the collective already knows the truth by this time. I think now, once they've gotten settled in their power, now they're taking time to refine it, to reassess the truth, to make the necessary adjustments around the truth, to finding the purpose of truth. They're asking themselves, now that I know, what do I do with it? What is the purpose of everything I've learned here? And what comes next? Well, I think they find the purpose, because then we hit the Wheel of Fortune. This is an intensive moment. Life cycles, karma, destiny. This is a change of fate. And what this really feels like to me is the turning point, because this autumnal equinox, that already warned us at the beginning, prepare for change, make long-term plans, meaning there was always going to be a delay between finding the truth and watching reality catch up to it. So yes, eventually the wheel turns. Eventually, cause and effect, that catches up. Eventually, the truth creates momentum. And eventually, the trajectory itself changes entirely. And when this momentum finally lands, it's landing hard with the Tower. This is a real reckoning. And I'm getting that this is important. Because the Tower, this is not subtle. The Tower is where the truth finally lands in the 3D reality. And it collapses everything in its wake. And the thing the collective already knows, I'm getting that becomes visible. Whatever this thing underneath the shame that the collective knows is true, that becomes visible. The thing that has been operating beneath the surface this whole time, that becomes visible. Because justice finally produces its effect. The truth is no longer something the collective carries alone, because reality has finally caught up. And I'm getting this is why this is a miracle. Because the collective already knew the truth. But the miracle is that the rest of the world can now, they can see the truth too. And I'm guessing that it causes a complete wipeout in reality. And when that all settles, the collective, well, you guys naturally reach contentment. Because I'm getting, this isn't because you got everything y'all wanted. You're not landing here because y'all won. Not because the ending feels good, but because the answer, the truth, finally arrived. And the questions that you had while you were in that shame, all of those questions are no longer unanswered. The truth, that's no longer hidden. The collective finally has the 3D experience to know that the truth is catching up. And that takes us into this third and last column. I have the Ace of Cups reverse, the Seven of Cups, the Eight of Cups reverse, the Four of Cups reverse. This is a lot of reversals lately. So we start in this final column with the Ace of Cups reverse. And I think this is important because even though the collective has come to contentment, this card says that the collective does not immediately jump into something new. They don't immediately run outward with their energy. What they do is they sit with it. Because this Ace of Cups reverse says reflection, intuition, and self-love. And I'm getting that the collective is still processing. The collective is still integrating. The collective is still sitting with the impact of everything they just learned. And honestly, I think that tells us how significant this shame they were put in, they were caused to carry. This really shows how massive it really was, because even after the answer arrives and the truth arrives, the collective still needs time to process it. And then our attention shifts, because now we're looking at what the Tower actually exposed. And this is the Seven of Cups. So this is illusion, confusion, lack of direction. This is shiny object syndrome. And immediately we see distortion here. Immediately we see a reality that wasn't built on truth. Because then it moves into the Eight of Cups reverse. And this is being dishonest with yourself and with others. This is staying for the wrong reasons. Likely because they're in limbo. And this shows that whoever's on the other side of this shame, they're faking their happiness altogether. So now the distortion gets a face. Because I'm getting this isn't somebody who is thriving. This isn't somebody who's fulfilled. This isn't somebody who's aligned with anything they are doing. This is somebody remaining where they are for all the wrong reasons while projecting happiness. That's a really odd place to land after an external tower like this. I would expect to see clarity. I would expect to see an aha moment. But no, we see in limbo, faking happiness and staying for the wrong reasons. So that's how we'll leave that energy for today. But what I really want to talk about now is how this whole message ends, because it puts us and drops us off right here at the Four of Cups reverse. And this is where the energy, it comes back to the collective, because this card says self-awareness. It says re-engage. It says seize the day. And to be honest, this feels like the same energy that brought the collective into justice to begin with. It's the same willingness to reflect, the same willingness to understand, the same willingness to always be honest. So The collective sees the distortion clearly. The collective sees the pattern clearly. The collective sees what the tower exposed to the reality. And because of all that, the collective's engagement with life returns. Their enthusiasm returns. Their awareness returns. Their power returns. I'm getting the collective now. They are no longer consumed by the shame at all. They are no longer consumed by the mystery. They are no longer consumed by the search. And I'm getting that for the first time in a very long time. The collective gets to seize the day again. And that's not because the journey didn't matter. No. It's because the truth finally landed. And the collective, y'all finally understand. The collective, y'all have finally reclaimed your power. And now the collective gets their life back. And it gets to be whatever you make it. It's definitely not coming with shame. That's for sure. That's the message that I got for y'all today. So if this one landed, then engage with my channel, like my message, leave me a comment, and follow along. Drop your energy into my fields so I can keep reading it for you guys. And remember, where there is love, there is light. I'll see y'all again real soon.